In this tiny country of Georgia, vendors sell what might seem like regular bread. But this regular bread, they're no simple carbs. What most people don't realize is that this bread tradition goes back over 900 years, and these recipes have essentially remained unchanged. The most famous one is essentially just a cheesy bread that's just so delicious that the Georgian government has declared it a part of their national heritage. Actually, not one. Like, they have a lot of these varieties that the Georgian government has declared a national heritage. They love their cheesy bread here. I'm Sean Basie, and I'm today going to talk about khachapuri. And I'm going to tell you that the best khachapuris and the biggest variety of khachapuri is not found in a restaurant, but is found on the street. I just got back from the street myself, and they love their plastic too. Like, they wrap everything in like 5 layers of plastic. I'm not really sure like how healthy that might be. That might not be that healthy. But I got one. This is the standard Imeruli khachapuri. Some ASMR. The Imeruli khachapuri right here is like your basic cheesy pie. It's just bread, kind of like a soft dough pizza crust, like a Chicago, like one of those really thick dough pizza crusts. So, and then it just has cheese inside. Okay, it's pretty basic. It's usually kind of an Embark cheese, like a little salty. Sometimes they put soguni if you're lucky. Like, that's the really good stuff. If you're not lucky, they just put a noodle and say it's cheese. It's from the street. What do you want? Like, and there's all sorts of different varieties, which I'm gonna get to in just a second. Georgians have a lot of street food. Okay, but today I'm just gonna go over the two basics that when you come as a tourist that you're gonna need to know and you're gonna need to try, because these are the most traditional foods from Georgia. You have on the one hand khachapuri, and you have on the other hand lobiani. Khachapuri is literally Georgian for cheesy bread. Khacho is like a old word for cheese that meant like cottage cheese, and I guess they were making these cheesy breads from cottage cheese way back in the day, but now they use a more standard cheese, kind of like it tastes similar to mozzarella. Like, if you mix up mozzarella and feta, that's kind of what you get with the cheese that they have inside these khachapuris on the street, at least, and in the restaurants typically. Then on the other end you have lobiani, which comes from the Georgian word lobio, which means beans, which you might have guessed it means beanie bread. Kind of the importance of lobiani in Georgian culture is like Georgians love to like fast. They're really religious about fasting, and part of fasting is that they can't eat meat, so they just replace everything that would have meat, like khachapuri has cheese. It's drawing a blank on the rest of that. But yeah, they replace the cheese because that's meaty. I mean, this is where they're kind of going a vegan thing. But yeah, so they replace the cheese with the beans, and then you have basically a vegan khachapuri. You have a beanie khachapuri or a lobiani. And actually, lobiani, if you take the iani ending, that just means like e or ish. So beanie bread, bread made from beans, I guess would be a better translation, maybe, because lobio, you have beans, lobiani, beanie from beans, made out of beans. It's like the French have on, if you say en cuir, then it's like made out of leather, right? Something like that. Very similar translation there. Okay, so yeah, we have those two variants. We have the khachapuri and lobiani. Now, all the regional variants I'm about to talk about, those are all basically, almost all of them, I'll tell you the exceptions, have the same version. You have two variants of the pastries, typically on the street, sometimes in a restaurant. You have the pinovani variant, which means layered, and you have like the regular variant. Okay, so pinovani is it's kind of like a non-sugary crust. Yeah, it comes from a non-sugary croissant crust, and then they put the cheese inside or the beans inside that. Now, sometimes it's very poofy and very crunchy, very messy. If you want something that has the same flavor-ish aspect or the poofy aspect, you can get a nachavari pinovani, which means half pinovani, like half layered. And those usually come out in a big cake, and they cut it in squares, and they're much easier to eat, and actually they're much more delicious. And I kind of like the that more than the regular Imeruli when you're buying from the street. So look for the Nachavari Pinovani. And yeah, That's pretty good too. Now, especially if you don't eat meat, but you do eat cheese, that's, I think, the best one to get. Somebody asked me the other day what to get, and I'm like, well, get the rachuli one. And they're like, but we are Jewish. We don't eat pork. We are hard. We are Jewish. Yeah, so back to my accent problems. So, yeah, so they couldn't eat that. So the regular khachapuri, nachavari pinovani was the best choice for them. My favorite khachapuri to eat from a vendor on the street is the rachuli khachapuri. Now you can say rachuli khachapuri, but usually they sell it like khachapuri lorit, which means khachapuri with ham. And then it's rachuli lobiani, or sometimes lobiani lorit. And I have all these written down, by the way, in the blog. So if you click down there, you can keep track of it on the blog and use that as a helpful guide for eating in Georgia. So rachuli, because from Racha, they're very famous for their smoked and cured hams. And so when they put it, if you go over there, they'll put always in the lobiani. They're very famous for the lobiani with the ham. And out on the streets, they just usually just say lobiani or khachapuri with ham. Lorit means with ham. Yeah, so that's rachuli. That's my favorite to grab for lunch because you have a nice slice of protein. You got some cheese. It's basically like a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, or one of those cheese pockets, hot pockets, like a ham and cheese hot pocket. Now, continuing traveling around, we have from the region of Guria. That's the other one I bought. This is my favorite for breakfast. So the rachuli, I think, is great for lunch. And even if it's cold, you can slap it in a little sandwich maker and have a nice fresh grilled cheese. Now this is the Guruli region from Guria, and so you can tell, like, here we have a kind of a moon. It's like a crescent shape. Delicious, yeah. Right. That's legit. I like it for breakfast because it has hard-boiled eggs inside, and kind of chopped up inside. And so another great protein pop along with all those carbs. Again, like, I've never actually seen a gruli khachapuri in a restaurant in Tbilisi. You usually just see them in the street. Like, you can get so many cool different flavors of khachapuri from the street. And usually these run about 3 to 5 lari, so that's 1, maybe 2 euros if you're like downtown. Yeah, so you can get a very cheap meal that way on the street. That's almost as, maybe even more flavorful than you would get from a restaurant. So you get that cheap meal, you go down to the park, you have a picnic, is beautiful. You buy some cheap wine, boom, that's very nice. So the next grade of khachapuri, we have guruli. And there's of course the famous one that everybody knows about, the ajuri khachapuri, the cheese boat. But I'm not going to get in that here because the cheese boat is a bit messy. Like, it's not, nobody serves it at the window. That's a restaurant food because it's very messy. I can't imagine walking around the streets tearing off a piece of bread and dipping it into the egg. That would be a very complicated process of eating. So, scratch that one. We keep traveling around. There's Samagrelo region in western Georgia. They have their own khachapuri as well. It's similar to Imeruli. It's like a circle, but they put an egg based on top, so to give you a little protein pop, and a lot of butter on there too, and so it makes it like a kind of a crunchy layer on top. I don't think there's a Magruli Lobiani version. There might be. You might see that occasionally. The people get creative sometimes, but I don't think there is. But it's pretty good. So if you're getting khachapuri, you can try that one if you don't want the standard just doughy Imeruli pizza bread thing. That getting a little reflux there from that guruli, I guess, from that delicious bread. Carb overload time. Okay. So going around, we can keep traveling. South Ossetia has a very delicious cheesy bread. Okay, it's called khabizgina, and it's with mashed potatoes and cheese. Like you mix those together, and then it comes out. Usually it's kind of in a half-shaped one, like the guruli is, and that's one of my favorites as well. Especially I'll go forward soon talking about a new variation that you'll see occasionally in Tbilisi. Okay, the next one we have ispinagit. You'll sometimes see, which is with cheese and spinach. Okay, those are like mixed together. It's another very, it's when you can convince yourself you're having a healthy meal. Basically, it has the same consistency of the lorit one. It has kind of a pinovani shell and stuffed in, and then you can always re-grill that on the sandwich maker if it goes cold. And if you go up to Swaneti, you have what they call kubdari, and this one is made from like sometimes minced meat, sometimes just chopped up meat. There's no cheese. It's just meat straight up. So that's a good one too. And then there's lately I've been seeing a lot of these kebabi hamburgers, like Georgian hamburgers, pop up at these satshobie. And what that is, like if you see that, it's like it looks like a hamburger and has a little fresh baked bun, and it has a bit of kebabi. Kebabi is like a Georgian meatloaf, and you have usually some lettuce and some tomato and cucumber in there, and it's okay. It's usually a little cold. You can tell them to heat it up. Now, to go on, there's what they call their standard bread making. They do it from what they call a tone. And a tone is like this big upside down clay bowl with a hole in the top, and it goes over a fire, and they smack the breads all up on the inside, and then it cooks. So usually you get what they call a cheese-puri from this, and they pull it out, and it's just a standard bread. That's really delicious bread, and coming to think of it, like Georgians can only make like this bread and cheesy bread really well. Like any other breads, like sandwich bread, they don't have good sandwiches, breads, no good baguettes. If you want that, you're gonna have to go back to Europe or America. Sorry, guys, no good sandwiches here, but good cheese bread, good ham and cheese bread as well. Yeah, so you got the Tonys. Now, a new trend that has been popping up, that if you go to one of these Tonys bakeries, like the bakeries are always separated. You have the khachapuri style bakery, and you have the Tonys bakery. And if you go to the Tone, you'll see it say Tone or Shoti sometimes. If you go there, there's a new fashion coming up where they make a lot of these khachapuris and lobianis in the Tone as well. So you can have like the Tony's lobiani or the Tony's khachapuri, Tony's kubdari. That one was really good. My favorite from the one at the corner is called the Tony's khabizgina, which is again make that potato mixed with the cheese, and there's also another herb in there. I don't know, but that's super delicious. Like I think I like the Tony's one more than just the standard khabizgina, which usually comes in the Imeruli style bread. So that one is really good. If you can find a Tony's Tone that like cooks these other variations, I would definitely suggest trying that. All these I would recommend on a big caveat. You want them warm or hot, so you need to ask achalia, like is this fresh? And if not, choose something else. Okay, or you can say romeli achalia, like which one's fresh, and then order that one. If you're not a picky eater and you just want a good tasting pie in your mouth, good tasting cheese pie. Yeah, so there's that. Daschela is like, can you heat it up? The satschobia is like the place is called a bakery. Sometimes you'll see satschobia. Usually you'll see that. Sometimes, rarely, you'll see khachapuri, which means place of khachapuris. Whenever you see like a sa in the front, that usually means place, like a place of this. So sa khachapuri, sa lobie, sa bortalo, place of the ball, borti. Sa Garejo, it's like the town in Kakheti. It's near David Gareja, so Sa Garejo, the David Gareja. Sa khachapuri, place of khachapuri. So keep that in mind. And then you have the Tony or Shoti. You can see they're kind of interchangeable here. In Georgia, you can say, where's the Tone or where's the Shoti, and people will know what you're talking about generally. Yeah, so that's your guide to the Georgian street food. And I'm leaving out desserts here. That's for a future blog. And I'm also leaving out shawarma. Okay, shawarma is such a great meal. But I mean that's related to like the doner kebab stuff. So that's like worth a whole nother vlog. I'm gonna probably travel around and I got to collect myself eating a bunch of different ones and make a review on that. That's a process to make, I think. So yeah, if you enjoy hearing more about Georgia, I've got a great video on Meskheta, which is about the trinity of Meskheta, which is the three things Georgians will always show you if they give you a tour of Meskheta, or you can just try it out on your own. You have like a monastery, a cathedral, and a salobie. And do you remember what that meant? Yeah. House of beans, basically. Place of beans. So go check that video out. And if you're in Tbilisi and you want a good street tour on your phone, like just plug it into your ears with some earphones, then check out my audio guides. I'll link to those down below too. All right, this is Sean Macy. Have a nice day.